Hey everyone, welcome back to Ryan Parker Studios. It's time to make another meal. So today's meal is actually not geared towards human consumption. I know, you're like, what? Well, that's because you might already be able to hear. I have a four-legged flea bag, and she is precious. But over the years, we've noticed that regular processed food, just doesn't really work well for her. She'll eat it, and she's, healthy for, being a fat, overweight Dachshund, but she is losing weight. But that processed food really makes her hair feel matted, her breath stinks, she got a lot of yeast infections, and so we've tried to figure out a way to have her skin and her fur and her ears be more healthy without the help of medication. So we decided we would try to make homemade dog food. So I scoured the internet looking for recipes, and you know how the internet is. So there's a million people that has something that says that it'll work, but is it really healthy for them? Well, we ended up taking a recipe to our vet, showing them the list of ingredients and the way it was broken down. And the vet said, yeah, actually everything that is listed there is something that would be healthy. The only thing they recommended was adding some sort of probiotic on top of that if you're going to go natural versus processed, because although processed, some of it's bad for them, bad in the sense that it's not the most optimal use of nutrients. It does have some added gut benefits that is mixed in. So we do supplement that with just a probiotic that you can get over on Amazon. So anyway, I am going to take you through how to make homemade chicken and rice based dog food. So let's get started. So the first thing we are going to start with is 6 cups of dry rice, which will equate to roughly 12 cups once fully cooked. Now you can either use brown rice, which is what I have here because that's what I have actually in the house, or the vet did recommend white rice as the better of the two options, but you could use either one. So we're gonna go ahead and do brown rice because that's what I still have in stock. The first thing we're gonna do is we are going to rinse it so we can get all of the extra starch that we can out of it. And you should be able to tell, I'll see if I can do it once I get this up. We're gonna swish it around and you'll see that it's very discolored with a haze. And that's all of the extra starch that's in there. It's not going to be as bad with brown rice as it is with white rice. But hopefully you can see that. You can see how dirty that water looks. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to rinse this until the water runs fairly clear. So you can see it's definitely much clearer than it was before. Still a little hazy, but not too bad. So we'll probably do one more and then we'll be good. Okay, time to go ahead and get this prepped in our Instant Pot, because that's what I'm going to be using for the bulk of our cooking today, and get this rice cooked up. Now, as far as your Instant Pot goes, you're going to get the rice in there. It's usually a 1 cup of water to 1 cup of rice ratio. I've also tested and confirmed its work that if you do water 1 inch above the top of your rice, then that's enough water as well. So either way you want to go. Now, a lot of Instant Pots have a rice button. So mine has a rice button here. I literally can press that and then it'll just cook it. And I have not seen any factors as far as white rice to brown rice when I click the rice button. I guess somehow it senses it. The other thing you can do is if you're doing brown rice, it's usually 22 to 24 minutes in the Instant Pot, and white rice is usually about 5 minutes in the Instant Pot. So it's a big difference between time cooking. So I think to be on the safe side, because I've only used the rice button with white rice, I'm going to actually time it this time with the brown rice. Now, once it comes up to temperature and it cooks, you're gonna let it do its thing and then give it 10 minutes natural release before you open it up and take a look. So let's go ahead and let's get our rice in here. So there we go. We got our rice in there. We have our 6 cups of water in there. Now we're just gonna go ahead and get this thing set. Got my venting closed. And again, we're gonna go ahead. I always like to do the higher side for myself. That's just my personal thing, but we're gonna do our pressure cook. And we're gonna kick it up to, actually I'll do it right in the middle. We'll do 23 minutes. And so now it's kind of a set it and forget it. Welcome back. So it is time to take a look. So there we go. We have some nice, ready to go and eat rice. So our next item up for bid, if you will, is to go ahead and cool this rice down. So we are going to get it out of here and we are going to go ahead and put it in the fridge. But I'm not going to do that right away because Mel gets pissed because of the steam. And it makes everything in the fridge with condensation everywhere. So we're gonna let this sit out here and cool down a little bit first. And then we are going to move this into the fridge. So for our next round, we're gonna do the hard-boiled eggs. You can make them any way you want if you like to boil them or whatnot. I have found though that the Instant Pot with the 5-5-5 method is perfect for eggs. So what the 5-5-5 method is 5 minutes at pressure, 5 minutes natural release, 5 minutes in an ice bath. And they come out darn near perfect, and it's super, super easy to peel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our grate for the Instant Pot so the eggs are not sitting on the bottom. We're gonna do 1 cup of water, and then we're gonna do our eggs. Now, generally, I like to make more than the minimum requirement and just have some hard-boiled eggs for myself, but it looks like I literally have exactly what we need for Peaches, which is 8 hard-boiled eggs. So again, the eggs are just in there on the grate. We are good to go. Sorry for being in front of the camera there for a moment, folks. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and go back on. We're gonna do our pressure cook at 5 minutes. So pressure cook, 5 minutes. So we'll let this come up. It'll do its 5 minutes. We'll do a natural release for 5 minutes, as I mentioned, and then put it in the ice bath. So we will come back when it is time to actually move them over to the ice bath. All right, time to do our release. And then we're gonna move the eggs over to our ice bath We're gonna let them sit in there for 5 minutes. And then we are going to go ahead and peel them. And I'm gonna peel them right away after my 5-minute ice bath to stop the cooking. So if you didn't know why you usually put these in an ice bath, there you go. So they're still cooking because of how hot they are. So you throw them in an ice bath to go ahead and stop that cooking process so it doesn't get too bad with the yolk. All right, 5 minutes in the ice bath, and then we're gonna peel these suckers. We're ready for cracking the eggs. I use this little rolling method too, because it helps to loosen the shell. And then we go ahead and peel it, and I got my trash can right here. You can see how easy that comes off. And then, there we go. So we're gonna do that 7 more times. And there we go. We have our 8 eggs all peeled. We're gonna let them cool down just a little bit more before we chop them up. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next round, which will be getting the chicken cooked. Next up is our chicken. So we have about a cup of water in here. And then technically I have 6 pounds of frozen chicken tenderloins, but the recipe only calls for 4 pounds. So I'm gonna guesstimate, because I'm okay with a little more chicken for Peachy. So we're gonna go ahead and get that loaded into the Instant Pot. Then it's 10 minutes on Instant Pot pressure cooking, 10 minutes natural release, and then we let the rest of the steam out. So let's go ahead and get that started. Actually, no, we'll go ahead and go with one more. Now, if you don't have an Instant Pot, the other method that's recommended by vets is to actually boil it. So anything I've done today, you can technically do just in a pot and pan, you know, on the oven, but don't fry the chicken or, you know, cook it in a pan without oil. The vet recommends to either boil or to do the Instant Pot to preserve most of the good nutrients that are going to be in here. Okay. So we're going to hit our pressure cook. 10 minutes. Make sure our vent is closed on top. And now it's a waiting game. So again, 10 minutes at high pressure, 10 minutes natural release. We'll come back when it's done. All right, time to continue. So what we have right now is going to be our base for the meal. We have our rice, which I have set up here. Then we have our chicken that is cooling down, and we're going to be cutting that up here shortly. Now I've got it broken into 2 bowls because this makes a decent amount, and I don't want it to be too full in one and spill it. So I have basically split it up 2/3 here and 1/3 here. So our next step is going to be to go ahead and chop up the eggs. So we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of and put those in and get it mixed. All right. So there we go. All right. goes into that one. And this one will go into the other one. And then we'll do a little bit of a mix. You don't have to do it tremendously because we're going to be adding more and more stuff. So it'll continue to mix. Okay, next up will be our carrots. So it's going to be an equivalent of 6 carrots. So I have my carrots here. Peachy gets the cut and peeled baby carrots because she's so spoiled. And of course, it's easier for me when it comes to not having to do a lot of extra prep work. I know, she's already here hopping up and down. She knows what's coming. You can see it's starting to get together. So again, we've got our base of rice, we've got our egg, we've got our carrot. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and get our chicken. And we're gonna start dicing up our chicken. These are still a bit hot, so we're gonna use our tongs. Okay, let's go ahead, mix this in. And then we'll move on to our next phase. We've got a few more things to get put in here. All right, here we are so far. Now the last few things that we are going to mix in will be a ½ cup of minced parsley. Fresh is the best way to go. And then 6 tablespoons of olive oil or sunflower oil. So let's get that and we'll finish this up. I'm lucky enough to have a little garden out back, so I have fresh parsley that I just picked. We're gonna go ahead and do our oil though. And just a little bit more. All right, so we've got our oil in there. Last but not least, time to cut up our parsley. And then I have one of these, which is a multi-tool for cutting up herbs. It's got blades. You can pull stuff off if you want to pull stuff off. So since this is all parsley, really for the pup, all of it's going to be healthy. So I'm just going to go in here and cut it all up. I might leave some of the big parts out. Man, I love the smell of fresh herbs. I wish you guys could smell this. Now, depending on how much you need for your pet, that will dictate, obviously, how long this lasts. So for us, we give Peach 1 cup a day, so a ½ cup in the morning and a ½ cup at night. Now, one of the other things that we have done though, just to see, because we were dealing with some stomach issues with her, was we cut that back to a ½ cup a day, and we did a ¼ cup in the morning with a ¼ cup of dehydrate, or what do they call it? Dehydronized dog food. That the protein was broken down so far, but by the time they go to the bathroom, it doesn't upset their stomach or something like that. But that stuff is like $60 for 7 pounds. So we will probably go back to just the natural stuff here now that she seems to be doing much, much better. And I just destroyed my Instant Pot. Somehow I accidentally turned on my oven and my Instant Pot is now dead. Okay, we're back, but my Stormtrooper Instant Pot no longer exists. So I'm going to have to get a new one. Must have been when I was stirring the pot, or stirring the stuff together, I just knocked it just enough to turn the burner on low. And I didn't realize it until I started smelling it. So there's a lesson for you. Be very, very, very careful when you are in the kitchen. All right, so we're gonna get our parsley now. And now it's time to do our final mix. And voila, there you go. You have your homemade chicken and rice, healthy dog food. Peachy absolutely loves this stuff. So we're gonna break it into half a cup increments and put it in little individual Ziploc bags. I freeze most of it and take it out like 3 or 4 days at a time. So I hope you liked this homemade meal for the four-legged flea bags. Before you head out, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. Until next time, keep on smoking.